We stay with that story that's playing out in Mozambique, where the South African soldier has been killed in an ambush. The soldiers were deployed in the Cabo Delgado province in the northern part of Mozambique as part of the SADC mission. Let's discuss these developments and others with Professor Adriano Nuvunga, who recently was in Cabo Delgado and I understand flew back to Maputo yesterday. But he's also been one of those voices in Mozambique who's calling for dialogue as a way to end the ongoing conflict in the northern part of Mozambique. Prof, good afternoon and thank you very much for your time this hour here on eNCA. Firstly, can I just begin and get your thoughts on the statement that was issued just a few hours ago here in South Africa by the South African National Defence Force that a South African soldier deployed as part of the SADC mission in Cabo Delgado has been shot and killed during an ambush by insurgents, and a number of other Mozambican soldiers were also wounded. But we don't have any more details. What are your thoughts? Can I have reaction from you about this news now that the war seemingly is intensifying in Cabo Delgado?
Indeed. After initial excitement with the early success by the joint forces comprising the Mozambique Defense Force, SAMIM, the SADC mission, and RDF, the Rwandese Defense Force, where the violent extremists seem to be disbanding. Now they seem to be reorganizing, they seem to be regrouping, and they are perpetrating regular attacks in several parts of Cabo Delgado. One of these attacks is the most recent one, where they ambushed a SAMIM mission, and it resulted in the death of a South African soldier and also causing injuries and death to other Mozambican soldiers. The situation is bad. It is violent extremists are showing sign of their grouping, not only committing attacks in Cabo Delgado, but they're expanding to neighboring Niassa, where they recently committed attacks in Mekula, which is resulting in populations warring in parts of Nampula. So the situation is not good, and they seem to be stretching as a result of the pressure that they are feeling in parts of Cabo Delgado, but they also seem to be tactical, and they seem to be, as I've indicated, regrouping.
Yeah, earlier reports also said besides them now attacking targets in the neighboring northern province of Niassa, they are also going across the Ruvuma River on the border with Tanzania and carrying out attacks in southern Tanzania. Any news you know about that, Prof?
We are working together with civil society organizations in Tanzania. They also report similar attacks, and the patterns are the same: sporadic attacks to villages, targeting women, targeting young people, and also burning villages and perpetrating ambush to military forces. So this again is a sign, number one, that they showing sign of force, they are regrouping, but also they are taking a more regional dimension. And we have been calling for a regional collaboration in addressing particularly cross-border cooperation in order to address violent extremist organization in northern Mozambique and southern part of Tanzania.
Now, from what I know, the SADC mission delayed getting there in terms of that regional response that you and many other Mozambicans have been calling for quite some time. And the deployment happened in July of the first part of the SADC mission. South Africa had deployed originally 1,495 soldiers. One of them, we understand, then was killed in that ambush yesterday. And the president, that's Cyril Ramaphosa here, has extended the stay of the South African component of SADC mission by another 3 months from October to January at a cost of another R1 billion in terms of the South African fiscus. That surely is good news, but I know your views, and you've said it many times here on eNCA. Military will not provide the solution to what's happening in northern Cabo Delgado. You've been trying to get dialogue going. I know you were in Cabo Delgado a few days ago. Are you winning? Are you managing to get any sort of dialogue going on? Is the Mozambican government willing to talk to the insurgents at all, or are you losing that battle?
Indeed, it's a good news that the South African government has extended the mission. But we want a more coherent and solid SAMIM as a SADC mission to be strengthened in terms of resources, including particularly intelligence, and have a more mid to longer term mission. The challenge in northern Mozambique is not a short-term one. It's a mid to longer term. And this, it needs to be, in terms of a policy level, it needs to need a shift on 2 dimensions. First dimension is dialogue. By dialogue here, at the beginning, we mean that changing from the solely militaristic to start to open avenues for the victims, women and non-combatants that are trapped in those targeted areas of violent extremists to start to escape, to come out and allow access of entities like ICRC and church-based organizations to start to have access to the non-combatants. This is important to build trust. Trust is important. Next to this, there is a need for intelligence, not to move away from solely militaristic, to move to embrace a more intelligence-oriented response to the challenge of violent extremist organization. An overall call for dialogue. For what we have seen since the government reshuffle at the defense level, we haven't seen much in terms of the government pushing for this angle. It has since been telling the number of violent extremists were killed, etc. This is important, but dialogue is important. Particularly, win the minds and hearts of the young Mozambican people that are being recruited to join violent extremists. And also, as I've indicated, the victims that are trapped there, they need to come out, and they need clear avenues from the government in terms of making that available. At the moment, we have made some progress, but it is still, the cup is still half empty.
Yeah, the cup is still half empty. Anyway, Prof. Nuvunga, before I let you go, I don't want to put you on the spot. We know that one South African soldier is among those who shot and killed in the ambush yesterday in Cabo Delgado province. You mentioned that there were a number of Mozambican soldiers who were wounded and killed. Are there any statistics that the government in Mozambique has issued about the casualties suffered by the Mozambican Defense Force, the SADC mission, and also the Rwandan forces that are on the ground there? Do you have any idea? Is anything being published in Maputo?
Not yet, not yet. And access to information is key. You have tackled an important point. Most often, information is received from outside, either from from Kigali or from Johannesburg or Pretoria, where President Ramaphosa and his government once in a while shares information, and SAMIM particularly. But from the authorities here, it has been more in terms of the number of violent extremists that are killed, and less transparency in terms of how many and who are the Mozambicans who are victims in this conflict.
Okay, thank you very much for your time this afternoon and some of your insights.